I don't know what's going on over at Blizzard, but there is more creativity in this raid than any of BFA's main systems. It's bizarre. It actually doesn't make any sense, and they keep going from strength to strength with this raid. I've got 2 more bosses to show you. We have raid testing tomorrow. Ordinarily, I'd wait till I tested all 4 and bring them all in one video. But this time, like, these 2 are so cool. I wanted to show these 2 because I think it's going to bring a lot of hype. I'm excited about the new raid. I wasn't that excited about Old Deer. It looked decent. It was like, okay, first raid. This one is like, yeah, this is the nuts, man. This is really cool. So, first thing you're going to notice is this is the new flashback system they've brought in. So, they were very on the fence about how they were going to deal with this raid in terms of there being some Horde-only bosses and some Alliance-only bosses. They've gone with this idea of the flashback. So, what happens with the flashback is if you're Horde and you're fighting an Alliance-only boss, you get transformed like you'd used an Orb of Deception into the Alliance. So, my Troll Druid was changed into a Night Elf for this testing. And from there, you'll be able to take part in the fight, even though you're Horde, but you'll appear and look as the Alliance. In terms of racials, I will point out they kept changing this during testing. We had 1 hour of testing per boss. Is that we started and we had both racials. I had both Shadow Meld and I had Berserking. And then later on in the fight, they changed it so I just had Berserking. We kept getting these messages saying they were changing everybody's racials in the raid. Ultimately, it ended up with me keeping my Horde racials despite being a Night Elf. That's how it went. Anyway, on to the fight. King Rastakhan, yes, the big king himself. This is such a cool fight. It's a mix between like a council fight and the Desolate Host. Don't lose your mind because I said Desolate Host and that might piss you off. You'll see what I'm saying. So it's going to kick off with the king just walks down, man. He's got these 3 dudes that you're going to be dealing with for phase 1. Let's call this phase 1, right? And then the king just gets up from his throne and he does this slow, like Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator down the ramp. If you don't go and grab him, he's coming anyway. You can't ignore him. And then each of these 3 guys you're going to be fighting are going to be doing all kinds of different things. We're going to have King Rastakhan spawning frog lower that are going to start bouncing and hopping across the floor, leaving poison. We've got tank explosions going on, which need to be kept at range. You'll notice I'm healing here. The raid size you're going to see over these videos keeps getting smaller. That's just due to PTR problems with people being disconnected and all sorts. So we had to bench some dudes because, you know, it buffs the boss and those guys can't even take part. Very sad, actually. But that's not the point. So I was healing for this one. So you can see I'm healing the tank over in the distance. I'm the tank healer in this case, while the rest of the guys deal with these other 3 guys where they're just AoEing and cleaving them down. There was no issue doing that whatsoever. But they're putting out totems that are mind controlling people. All this kind of stuff is going on in phase 1, which is over relatively quickly, to be honest. They don't have a lot of HP. Then we're going to go into phase 2, where guess who joins the fight? Motherfucking Bwan Sub, dude. Yeah, Big Bwan's going to come down. And then you're going to have this tank swap going on in the middle of it, where the tanks are swapping because Bwan Samdi has an aura of death. Not surprising for the big dog. He's got an aura of death, which is stacking on you constantly. So the tanks are going to be stacking this up, taking damage, getting debuffed where they can't be healed. You'll notice I'm throwing Iron Bark out as soon as that debuff goes on the tank, and then waiting for them to be healed again, topping them up, and then swapping the tanks over while because I'm healing the tank out in the distance, so just kind of like moving backwards and forwards and resetting my aura of death stacks, while the rest of the raid keeps out of range of the aura of death and deals with King Rastakhan himself, who's still doing all his mechanics. He's still going to have frogs hopping around. You're going to have these fire circles, which are a really cool mechanic, because all they are is a bit of a spread out, just to make sure you're not all clumped up, making healing super easy. But the idea is that they instantly transfer to other people. They instantly swap to other people. So if you get this circle on you and someone's stuck within that circle, you have like half a second to get out of it or something. Otherwise, it spreads to them as well. And it very quickly spreads throughout the whole raid and blows everybody up. Super dangerous mechanic, but still nice and fun. Once this phase is done and you've dealt with the king, then Bwan Samdi is going to drag your ass into the death realm. Whilst more specifically, he's going to drag half the raid into the death realm, and the other half is going to stay up top, where they're now going to deal with all kinds of ads and things. In the death realm, which is what you can see here, you're going to have these portals spawning these black swirlies of death, which are trying to do a lot of damage to you. Didn't do a tremendous amount of damage, but as it is the PTR, not every mechanic works. It's the way it is. But of course, if you're in the death realm and you're dealing with Bwan Samdi, he's stacking this aura of death on everybody. So you can see everybody's stacks are going up and up and up. And the way you deal with this is by walking into these rifts. These rifts will reset your stacks. However, They're going to do raid-wide AoE damage every time you do it. Again, I don't think this was working. Didn't do a lot of damage, but we practiced as if it was by staggering people. So you go like, preach, reset, blah, 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 reset, blah, 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 reset. Doing it that way to make sure it was like, this is what we'll probably be doing on live. That's how it's supposed to work. He's also going to suck you in. You see this raid-wide AoE suck in. And if you touch him, you're dead. He's born somebody, for fuck's sake. He's just going to kill you. No questions asked whatsoever. He's just going to kill you. Once this phase is over, we're then all going to go back to the live realm where you can see these rifts are still there and they're starting to mount up. Because the king is now gaining a stacking damage buff. We've got this kind of soft enrage where you have to beat him before he just monsters the whole raid completely. We did manage to kill this, although he was bugged at 0.0% health and just kind of stayed alive. But that's okay. That's okay. A very cool fight. Super fun. Lots going on. Really got to care about your positioning. Like the people who got dragged into the death realm seem to be the people who were closest to Buan Samdi, so you could kind of plan how to deal with that. Lots going on for all different players. Fire totems, breathing fire at everybody. All kinds of cool stuff. Great fight. But then it gets even better with High Tinker Mekkatorque. High Tinker Mekkatorque, my god. Not a difficult fight if you can cope with the one mechanic. Malagos, sit the fuck down. You have been dethroned, sir. Let me explain the mechanic, because there's a lot going on here, but it's mostly to do with this one thing. There are going to be these robots that are being parachuted in, right? These little scrapper bots or shocker bots or whatever the hell they're called. They're going to dive into the fight. Periodically, Mekkatorque's going to use his shrink ray on people. And you get shrunk right down to the side of a little tiny person. I love that the debuff is a gnome, by the way. I hope they keep that on the raid frames, that you get a gnomed. You get gnomed, but you're way smaller than a gnome. If you've been shrunk, you can be stood on. Your friends and family can, in fact, trod on you. And if you get trod on, I scienced this. I ran over to my buddy, and he stood on me, and you instantly die. If you get stood on, you are squished under toe. That is the way it will go. Dirty, nasty troll feet standing on top of you. But the other thing you can do is you can Ant-Man it, because while you're small, you can climb into the little robots and start wrecking them. Now, how does this work? Okay, so generally speaking, 2 robots will be up and 3 people will be shrunk. 2 people are going to jump in the robots, and the 3rd shrunk person should just try not to be stamped on. That's your job. Don't get stamped on. Now, for the 2 people in the robots, though, have they got something fun to do? When you're inside, you get a new action bar, which has, I believe it's 6, it's like 5 or 6 colors. It's like purple, green, red, yellow, and then you have a code. That's what you've got to put into the robot. If you're small, you get into your robot and you have to put a code into it. You can't see your code. What you can, though, is see what the other person's code is in the second robot. You can see their code above their robot. They can see your code. So then you have this thing where you have to tell each other which buttons to press to put your code in. So it'll be like, you're blue, you're red. Done. You're purple, you're orange. Done. You're green, you're yellow. Done. Once you put the three color combination in, the bar will then change so you can shut down and destroy the robot. That's how it works. And when it works well, it works really well. What if you fuck it up, though? What if you fuck it up? If you fuck it up, you die. You die. If you put the wrong code in, you die, which really sucks. So an example of a situation that happened to us is that one of the people jumped into the robot. He called out the color of the other person's code, but then he disconnected. So he got kicked out of the robot immediately. Blizzard does have an anti-DC system here because it does kill you. So I ran over because I was the other shrunk person and jumped in that robot, and we continued from there. Now, when the other person, he was obviously 1 code ahead of me. So when I put my code in, I'd done 2, he had done 3. So his bar had changed to the shutdown. He shuts it down. I still had 1 code to put in. So the shout was, just take a guess, man. Just take a guess. See what it could be. So I went for it. Didn't work. Dead. If you screw it up, you get kicked out and you get an anti-tamper shock where it will screw you up and kill you if you do this. So very, very fun. How that's going to work in pugs, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But I'm okay with this. It's heroic. It should have some form of communication, and for bare minimum, this is the last difficulty before the absolute hardest. Some communication is okay, and I've no doubt there'll be some add-on that helps you out at some point to make it easier for you. But either way, if you screw this up, you end up with a lot of robots. And during the mid-transition of the phase, the robot does all kinds of things. He's shooting lasers. He's going to put debuff on people that they have to run behind like pillars and line of sight the raid, because they electrocute the whole raid if they explode in the middle of the raid. But on top of that, the midway phase is going to send out, guess what? It's an army of sheep. It's an army of exploding sheep. For you Worms fans out there, the exploding sheep are in. And the exploding sheep are going to do what they do. They blow up, but they also blow up and send fireballs absolutely everywhere. Simultaneously, it's going to shrink like 6 people. So what's happening during this is everybody's running around to avoid exploding sheep, while not stamping all over their friends who are currently small. So you get teleported into one space. You've got a spread. You've got a spread without stamping on your butts. And then you've got to dodge all these exploding fireballs while simultaneously being able to be squished by your friends. It's actually really fun. Super cool. Enjoyed the hell out of it. Had a blast with it. Unfortunately, this boss just kept resetting. We don't know why. We kicked everybody who was even outside the raid to see if it was them. We didn't go near certain areas, but it just kept resetting on us randomly. That was a shame, because I was having such fun with this fight, and it was cool when everybody got in the robot. It's like, shh, 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 let them talk. Red, orange, purple, green, yellow, green. Done, done. Yes, we did it. You know, that great sense of satisfaction that they got it right. And then, no, we had the comedy that came from this is they're orange-ish, red-ish. Which color is it? Which color it is again? Maybe we should use the pictures, because they have images with them, like cogs. One of them is a chicken, you know, things like that. Maybe we should use the pictures instead. But a super fun mechanic that you're going to have fun with. Maybe it'll be frustrating if you've got that one guy who doesn't have a microphone for some reason in current year. That might happen. But overall, what a cheery up raid. I made a few videos today, which you'll see over the next couple of days. I took a day off streaming to get some videos done, and they were a little like heavy, you know, they're heavier videos, and this really cheered me up. So look forward to it, boys. Don't stamp on your mates.